Witness mankind's first encounter with an entity from beyond the stars in Prey, a Hulu original written and directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane, also written by Patrick Eisen, and it stars Amber Midthunder as Naru. Amber Midthunder, by the way, is a terrific fucking wrestling name, or a great finishing name. My God, the Mid-Thunder Bomb coming at ya! And also stars Dakota Beavers. Dakota Beavers as Tabe. I can't help it. I'm trying to be mature. I'm just not succeeding. I'm always going to have the maturity level of like a 13-year-old when it comes to humor because I'm just that way. But they are brother and sister living in the northern Great Plains with their tribe, the part of the Comanche Nation. And one day, while out hunting, Naru sees something in the sky. A Thunderbird. The Thunderbirds are go. No, wait, this is well before the Thunderbirds. And something's going on. Something weird is happening because there's this weird sense that they're being watched and there are animals being hunted and skinned and beat up. And then eventually it becomes obvious that there is some strange being that is attacking them and targeting them and hunting them. And if you've seen the poster or even the teaser trailer, you can figure it out. It is an origin story for the Predator. And this is set 300 years ago, and we get to find out what the first ever Predator did when it came down to Earth and killed animals and targeted humans, and who will be the ultimate hunter. So yeah, when I found out that this was dropping on Hulu, I was like, all right, at least I don't have to go to theaters, because I got to be honest, while I have some affection for the original Predator movie, it's by no means great. I did retro review it. And then there's Predator 2, and then there's Alien vs. Predator Requiem, and a bunch of others that had the law of diminishing returns just stamped all over their goddamn faces, assuming movies can even have faces besides the faces on the posters. So I was kind of just tepid on this. I will be honest, while this movie isn't necessarily the greatest thing ever, it's streamlined, and it does have a good narrative of, growing up, improving your worth, and that's where Amber Midthunder's Naru really steals the goddamn show. In fact, she pretty much carries the whole fucking movie. It's not that the other acting's bad. Dakota Beavers, sorry, he was tremendous. This Beavers was just spreading his excitement far and wide and everything, and wanting to please everybody. And I love Beavers that want to please everybody. I'm trying here. And since they're brother and sister, he is a hunter, but she can hunt. She's really, really good. She trains, she throws a tomahawk, and does some great training. She also has her dog, Happy Doggo, and everything. A great hunter dog. And we basically just have a Predator movie eventually. And it doesn't take very long for shit to start to go south. The movie's only 90 minutes, from opening credits to when the end credits start. So it's very streamlined and actually quite refreshing. It doesn't waste a whole lot of time. There are a few issues that I do have. I think that, quite frankly, it'll just introduce some characters, sometime for just the sake of having a high body count, which in a Predator movie you kind of need. And it loses a little bit of traction before it picks up with a little more violence in the third act. But it's certainly not a bad movie. Again, I must praise Amber Midthunder. I have heard the name. I can't recall seeing her in much of anything, but I will have to check out more work that she's done. And despite laughing at the name Beavers, sorry, Dakota Beavers actually was quite good. He was quite good as well. And there was a good brother-sister dynamic, a good, feeling of family, honor the family. Oh, you're a really good hunter, but you have to learn this way. You have to, don't fit within this system, because there is a good old-fashioned amount of, just heavy sexism and misogyny. And there were a couple scenes where I was like, oh, are we going to go this route? Please don't go this route with assault. They didn't, thankfully. But once the Predator arrives, things do pick up. And of course, Happy Doggo. And also we see some animal violence too that I could have done without. Sure, some of the special effects are samey. The Predator effects look pretty good, if not typical. This is not nearly as good as the first one, because nothing's going to match the bonkers, over-the-top action of that. But as far as a more serious story, it even shows the Predator being a little more old school, because, alien races have to evolve as well. So the technology, even though it's advanced for 1719, which is the year this is set in, it does fit with the fact that while there are spears and there's muskets, for some people, but there's spears and tomahawks and arrows, they have, the Predator has its own limited technology, though it's far advanced compared to the Comanches that it runs into. And there's some other, the locations are actually very, very beautiful. There are some other good factors to this, but once again, Amber Midthunder was really quite good. I am going to get into spoilers here in just a bit, but it's on Hulu. If you have a Hulu subscription, go check it out. There are certainly worse ways to spend your time, and maybe you will like it just as much as the original. I thought it was mostly good, not great, but certainly not a waste of time. So I am going to get into spoilers, though, but this is your warning. Go check it out on Hulu. This is your warning to check it out on Hulu. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay. So, yeah. Naru. This basically reminded me of Horizon Zero Dawn, just with like one robot type creature to hunt, even though it wasn't really a robot. It was more just an alien creature. But if you played any of the Horizon Zero Dawn game, you know, the game, or I believe it's sequel or the DLC or whatever, then you might know what to expect. No heavy amount of robots here. We do at one point get some, French people just in there basically to advance the body count. They just happen to be in the area. They have a camp set up, and it becomes obvious that maybe they have sinister intentions for Naru. Naru does witness this bear getting killed. That was actually a pretty good sequence right there. There were some grisly images to follow, but they had to bear with it, and we were going to just be so goddamn happy. We were just going to, it was going to be like, nestling, a warm cub, or a cub nestling its warm mother. Totally screwed that up. There was like a snake point where a snake got killed. No, step on snake, just stab snake. And the one overriding theme of this, like Tabe said to Naru, this is as far as you go, no more. This is it. Say that to it when you capture it. And, well, she just wants to prove her worth, so she decides to go off and hunt. And this is after failing to capture a lion, and her brother carried her back. And her brother even credits her for it later, saying, "You were right. You're a really good hunter. You're not there yet." And then the dog disappears after a while, after the bear attack. No explanation about where the dog went is what it is, though. I did kind of like how the Predator hit a grizzly press slam onto the sticks. My God, this garbage deathmatch nature bullshit. Non-wrestling fans have no fucking idea what I'm referring to. And there were a couple times where a bear trap was used, or like an animal trap. One time it caught the dog's tail, but she used medicine on it, and actually that's an overriding thing where she's a hunter and also knows medicine. Comanche beliefs and everything, that medicine, nature can heal. And at one point she gets it caught on her leg, but she's fine. She does get captured by random French people. And they know it's a hunter, but they also aren't very smart, and they get killed pretty goddamn quickly. At one point, this one, the huge guy is clearly the leader, slashes Tabe. And then, she decides to pay him back later. Then they're tied up to the tree, her and Tabe, and says, "I don't know if this can be killed," she said. And then, of course, they have to shoehorn one line of nostalgia in there. "If it bleeds, we can kill it." Okay, it wasn't that bad. And then, I don't know who burned that forest down. I don't know what the hell happened, but at one point, the Predator shows up, kills a whole bunch of French people, and then launches some discs in the air, and they explode, and more people die. There was a really nice chase early on into a field where one guy got killed, just got splattered up, and he makes trophies out of a wolf skull and various other creatures as it goes on. Skins a snake at one point. And then they decide, after seeing how this thing kills, they figure out the helmet has a targeting thing on it, so they decide to use that against it. But before that, this one French guy shows up after Naru has freed her dog. She helps him and uses this stuff that, like, as a medicine that makes his blood cold but will help heal him. And then, unfortunately, even though it hunts by heat, it doesn't see the guy, but then he screams and then stabs him. So that was it for that. But he's French. So, I mean, he was a French one-note character, so I don't really think he was going to be missed. I don't even know what the fuck the guy's name was. And it was actually kind of funny at one point where they freed themselves. Just before that, Naru frees herself and talks about a beaver having its leg trapped between two rocks and then chews its own leg off. It was good for the beaver, but she traps the rope in this in this trap, and frees him, says, well, I'm smarter than a beaver. And Dakota's probably like, the fuck? What'd I do to you? Why is Krillin in this? I don't know. So, Tabe eventually gets killed. He says, bring it home. And since he gets killed, now she decides to go on the hunt. But first, she traps the big old French guy and lets him get killed. After bleeding him, you bled my brother, so I'm going to bleed you. And then she was shown a little bit earlier by the guy she helped with medicine how to use a pistol. So she figures out a way to use that by trapping the predator in her web, so to speak, and shoots it in the back of the head, shoots the helmet off, and then uses that helmet a little bit later when it gets trapped in this little quagmire giggity area that she actually had to free herself from. And she's like, I'm going to use it against that. And then she says, this is as far as you go, no more. This is it. And uses a targeting from its weapon to kill it. And then she's celebrating, has the head, brings it home and says, well, we got weird people nearby. We need to go. Okay, let's get out of here. Yeah, it's expedient, it's streamlined, and it's not necessarily something that you need to dive into or think too much into. Are there other references to previous Predator movies? Probably. It's a nice streamlined version of Predator without the over-the-top gun violence. So get to the chopper. Or, being in a jungle and everything. They were just in the forest in the northern Great Plains. And the dog lived. Hooray! So yeah, B. I'm going to give it a B. It's not great, but I give it a B. It's entertaining enough. Agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.